The true story behind Princess Diana's car accident revealed. Hello, and welcome to Global Chronicles. Today, we will be bringing to you the story of a very important figure in the history of the royal family. Princess Diana, mother of Prince Harry and William. 25 years ago, Princess Diana was involved in a fatal car accident, which led to her losing her life. 25 years later, there are many theories on what truly happened and how it happened. We will be bringing to you the events leading to the crash and the aftermath. Let us get started. A long time ago, on Saturday the 30th of August 1997, Princess Diana alongside her rumored boyfriend, Egyptian film producer Dodi Fayed, traveled from the Orly airport on a private jet to the Le Bourget airport in Paris, France. Upon their arrival in Paris, they dined at the private salon at the Ritz Hotel in Paris. This hotel was surprisingly owned by David Fayed's dad, Mohammed Al Fayed. Sometime later, reported to be a few minutes past midnight on Sunday, they left the hotel and got into the Mercedes-Benz that had long been waiting for their arrival. Before this, a few things had already taken place. First, the deputy head of security at the Ritz Hotel had been instructed to drive the Mercedes-Benz. Second, a decoy vehicle was to leave the hotel from the main entrance before them. All of this was in an attempt to evade the overwhelming flock of photographers, known as the paparazzi. Diana and Fayed were finally able to depart from the hotel's rear entrance at around 20 minutes past midnight, heading for the apartment in Rue Arsène Houssaye. Inside the car, Diana and Fayed were the rear passengers. Trevor Rees-Jones, a member of the Fayed family's personal protection team, was in the right front passenger seat. Although they managed to evade the paparazzi, it was of course impossible to completely do so. It is reported that behind them were several motorcycles and perhaps two cars bearing paparazzi, who had managed to not lose track of them. After leaving the hotel and crossing the Place de la Concorde, they drove along Causse la Reine and Causse Albert Premier, the embankment road along the right bank of the River Seine, into the Place de l'Alma underpass. Although the speed limit was at 30 miles per hour, at 23 minutes past midnight, the driver, Henry Paul, in order to evade those who were following behind them, reportedly approached the entrance of the road tunnel, driving at approximately twice the speed limit. Due to driving at an extremely high speed, he would lose control of the car, striking a passing Fiat, which will lead to it swerving to the left of the two-lane carriageway and colliding head-on with a pillar in the middle of the highway. It is reported that the car was traveling at an estimated speed of 65 miles per hour, which is way beyond the tunnel's 31 miles per hour speed limit. The impact was so devastating that it caused substantial damage, particularly to the front half of the vehicle, due to there being no guardrails between the pillars to prevent this. Arriving shortly after the accident, witnesses reported that photographers on motorcycles swarmed the Mercedes long before it even entered the tunnel. Witnesses reported that, upon arriving at the scene after the accident, alongside the photographers, they rushed to open the doors in an attempt to help the victims. Upon doing so, they discovered the driver's body slumped over the horn. The impact was so great that parts of the radiator were reportedly found embedded in his body. Fayed, behind him on the left side of the car, was also killed immediately. Rees-Jones was still conscious, with multiple serious facial injuries and a head contusion. Diana, on the other hand, who had been sitting in the right rear passenger seat, was also still conscious but critically injured. Still being conscious, however, she was rushed to the Pitié-Salpêtrière hospital. Upon her arrival and checkup at the hospital, reports revealed that she was suffering from a concussion, broken arm, and cut thigh. Aside from that, she also suffered grave chest injuries. Operating for 2 hours, the doctors did all they could, but eventually failed to get her heart beating properly again. Reports say that her heart had been displaced to the right side of the chest, which tore the pulmonary vein and the pericardium. On the 31st of August, at 3 a.m., Diana passed away. They announced her death at 6 o'clock at a news conference held in the hospital. Later that morning, French Prime Minister Lionel Jospin and Interior Minister Jean-Pierre Chevènement visited the hospital. At around 5 p.m., Diana's former husband Prince Charles and her two older sisters Lady Sarah McCorquodale and Lady Jane Fellows arrived in Paris. They quickly got to the hospital along with French President Jacques Chirac and expressed their thanks to the doctors for their efforts in attempting to save the princess's life. Sometime later, on the same day, Prince Charles will accompany Diana's body to the UK. Upon arrival, the Queen's Colour Squadron transferred her coffin, which was draped with the royal standard with an ermine border, to a hearse. Her remains were then taken to the Hammersmith and Fulham mortuary in London for a post-mortem examination later that day. A few years before the incident, Diana had already predicted that something would happen to her. In the conversations she had with Thomas Basher, former British journalist, before the filming of the controversial interview, she had revealed that she was surrounded by people who may be betraying her. Basher reveals that she said to him, "I didn't know how many enemies I had." Williams Thomas, British investigative journalist, who was investigating the events concerning the princess, met with her close friends and associates. They would describe her as a kind, strong-minded and thoughtful person. They also revealed Diana's inner concerns in her final years. Speaking publicly for the first time, security expert Graham Harding explains how Diana feared her calls were being recorded and hired him to inspect her rooms at Kensington Palace for bugs. He would also secretly supply mobile phones to her in order to help her avoid any potential surveillance. These weren't her only concerns, though. One of her close friends, Roberto Devrick, also revealed that Diana always believed she was going to die young. He revealed in a documentary, she had the premonition she would be killed or die in an unnatural way. She would say, "I think they are going to kill me. I am going to finish in an accident, helicopter, plane or car crash." It is also revealed that she had a really good chance of surviving if the events panned out differently. Tom Treasure, a cardiothoracic surgeon, reviews the details of the crash. He said, Diana was taken from the car, and she was conscious when they took her out. Her circulation was in trouble, fast pulse and low blood pressure, indicating internal bleeding. These heart injuries, however, were sustained from sitting sideways without a seat belt when the crash happened. Firstly, if only she had worn a seat belt, then she would definitely have survived. Secondly, he also reveals that, if only her rare heart injury had been identified earlier, she may have had a chance. Upon the incident, her children, Prince William and Harry, were shielded from the public. Prince William and Prince Harry, aged 15 and 12, at the time of the crash, were vacationing at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. Upon getting news of their mother's death, they were devastated. According to Prince William, Her Majesty, the Queen, shielded them from the ensuing news spectacle. In a 2017 BBC documentary, he revealed, back then, obviously, there were no smartphones or anything like that, so you couldn't get your news, and thankfully at the time, to be honest, we had the privacy to mourn and collect our thoughts, and to have that space away from everybody. We had no idea that the reaction to her death would be quite so huge. It is also revealed that the Queen waited for 5 days before addressing the situation. After the accident, Queen Elizabeth instead chose to stay with Harry and William in Balmoral, Scotland, and only planned on returning just before the funeral. However, due to that fact that she didn't immediately address the mourning nation, she and the royal family were criticized for being aloof. Finally, on September 9, 1997, Her Majesty will address the nation in her first live broadcast since the Gulf War in 1991. She said, "We have all felt those emotions in these last few days. So what I say to you now as your queen and as a grandmother, I say from the heart." She continued, "First, I want to pay tribute to Diana, myself. She was an exceptional and gifted human being. In good times and bad, she never lost her capacity to smile and laugh, to inspire others with her warmth and kindness. I admired and respected her for her energy and commitment to others, especially for her devotion to her 2 boys." On the 6th of September 1997, Princess Diana's funeral was held. An astonishing 2.5 billion people around the globe paid homage to her funeral procession. She still lives in the hearts of many. And that's it for our story about Princess Diana's car accident. Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more global stories, facts and events. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.